Okay, I think we're on. Good morning. This is Pat Deere with Send Out Cards. I'm a relationship marketing expert. And I've been starting to do these stories of hope, healing, and happiness, mostly to kind of counteract some of the negativity in the world. And the fun thing is the more I do them, the more I realize that there's a whole lot of positive things going on. And it's just that we tend to focus on the others. So I have with me today Kate Bancroft. She is an author, coach, and speaker. So I'm going to let Kate come in and tell a little bit about herself.
Well, good morning, Pat. Thank you so much for having me. Like you said, I am an author. I have 2 books that are out, both with bestsellers. We talk about courage and endurance. And my 3rd book coming out in 3 weeks is on reigniting hope. So this is a great topic for me to talk to you about.
Yeah, that's wonderful. When I talked with you in Chelsea, I told you a little bit about me wanting to write a book on my hike. So that kind of interested me on hearing a little bit about that. But the 3 things that we're going to focus on today is hope, healing, and happiness. So I'm just going to get right in and start with the first question. Where do you see hope in the world?
Actually, Pat, I see hope everywhere. I see hope so much in like what you're doing in the stories of others. I love hearing what people have gone through and how they came out on the other side. And I think for many, we kind of hold that back. We think, oh, it was no big deal. But people need to hear that because they're going through situations and they are encouraged hearing how someone else has gone through the same thing and they came out on the other side. Because we need hope. The world tells us so much that it's hopeless out there. And we forget that there is so much hope. And we set it in the eyes and the stories of others.
You know, I absolutely agree, and I love what you talked about sharing the stories. This is a story for another day, but at one time I had a cross that fell off my chain 4 times. Chain still attached, cross fell off. I didn't share that story for years because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But then when I started to share it, I realized there was a lot of people with a lot of really, really cool stories that were different but similar in nature. So I absolutely agree with the sharing. It's so important.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the healing. How do you find, or how do you find healing? Where do you find healing?
I think for a lot of my life, I didn't understand what healing was. I tried to keep a lot of things in my past hidden, which I thought were painful and shameful and, dark and nasty. And it wasn't until I felt like the Lord telling me I had to start speaking, that when you bring things out from the darkness into the light, healing starts to happen, not only for you, but for, again, the stories that people are listening to. We tend to think that my past is so bad, I can't even forgive myself. So what is someone else going to think about me? But I love to go back now and look at where I was to see where I am and see the healing that has been done in my life. And I go to the Word. I'm in the Bible all the time because that's where my healing came from. I was told I was incurable, but I'm cured. So here I am today. And I stand on that. And again, that it's out in the open and it's out in the light. And there's no shame attached to it. It's just my past. It's just my story. And it's not who I am today, but it's who I was and where I came from. And that's what healing has done for me, is to walk into the light.
I'll have to make sure I get the names of your books before I post this, or when I post this, because I think that's something I need to read. We have a lot in common. I think a lot more than we realize. So happiness, this was really important to me. Where do you find happiness? What do you do to find happiness?
When I deal with so many of my clients, they look to other people for their happiness. They get mad at their husband because they're like, he doesn't make me happy. But happiness is a choice. And happiness is our responsibility. My coach always tells me that what we focus on, we find. What we focus on, we become. And what we focus on expands. So if I focus on joy, I have more joy. If I focus on negativity, I only have more negativity. It's that law of attraction. You bring to you what you put out. And happiness is just a decision I decided to make one day. Many years ago, I told my husband, I said, boy, if you had looked at, negative Nellie up in in the dictionary, my picture would have been there. But that's not who I am today, because I decided that in everything, I'm going to be joyful. It doesn't mean I like it. It doesn't mean if I'm in a car accident, I'm going to go, woohoo, that was so much fun. It means I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to get through this. And it's not going to affect me, my attitude, and my heart. That's happiness. It's not denying there's bad things. It's deciding to find joy in the little things.
You know, we had this exact discussion last night, and it's that you could have a whole discussion just on that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Everything that we're talking about, I feel like is just the tip of the iceberg for so many things.
It is.
So thank you for sharing that. And last, what do you do consistently every day that helps you in some way? It can be your personal life, your business life, doesn't matter.
I get up an hour early before everyone every single day. My alarm goes off at 5 o'clock. It doesn't matter what day it is, because I find that if I don't have that hour to myself where I read and I write and I journal and I pray, my mindset is not the best. And I would rather have a little less sleep and get through my day with a better attitude and a better outlook than having a little bit more sleep. And I so recommend this to everyone that I work with. And if you've never done that before, you just start with 15 minutes. And then if you can bump it up more than that, that's great. But we have to make time for ourselves every single morning before we start our day. If we want our day to go better, if we want us to be better that day.
You know, that's another great answer. And it's interesting because just this morning I put in my calendar, my time getting up at 6 o'clock for those exact things. And I've been doing that for quite a while, but I've never really put it in my calendar that said, this is dedicated time. I am going to get up at this time, and I am going to do it. And I'm not going to let anything else get in the way. So I just love talking with you. I'm going to, just for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and stop, but I want you to tell people how they can get a hold of you, because you had so many interesting things to say. And like I said, it's the tip of the iceberg. So where can they go to find more about you and what the kinds of things that you do?
They can go to my website at slayinggiantswithkate.com. They can find me on Facebook. Kate Bancroft.94 is, I guess, the official Facebook login page. I have a blog on my website that they can check out. I talk a lot about the giants in our life and how to knock them down, because we don't need to be kept down by them. We need to stand victorious. Like I said, I've got 2 books out, Stepping into Courage and Endurance. And my 3rd book, Reigniting Hope, will be out middle to late February.
Okay, so we got all the information here. I'm going to keep this up on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and stop this this recording. And Kate, if you don't mind staying on for a little bit, I'd love to talk to you a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat.